Hello to you all, wherever you might be listening this to from. I hope you're keeping well and that you're looking forward to 2022 in a positive light. So we're past 12th night, and I wonder if you've taken all your decorations down yet. I suppose it doesn't really matter if you haven't, for within the church's calendar we can keep them up if we want to until an event called Candlemas, which is when we celebrate the presentation of Jesus at the temple. It was also a time for the church to bless everyone's candles that they would use in the coming year. Now in the church we also know 12th night as Epiphany, the time when the Magi or the wise men came to visit Jesus in Bethlehem. It's thought that the visit happened as much as 2 years after Jesus' birth. So the Magi had been on quite a long journey, hadn't they? It had taken them 2 years. And no one knows exactly how many miles. But journey they did, and nothing or no one stopped them from reaching their final destination, not even King Herod. At the start of their journey, they knew that they were going in search of a new king. Yet they didn't know exactly where they were going, or indeed how long it would take them, but they set out, following a star. Nothing deterred them, and because of their perseverance, they were rewarded with the sight of the Messiah, the baby Jesus. They met with him and his parents. And I wonder if you've ever embarked on a journey not quite knowing where you would be going. But life is rather like a journey, isn't it? As Debbie said last week, we may have had dreams of what we wanted to be when we were children, and some of us may well have fulfilled those dreams, while there's probably some of us who are possibly still dreaming of what it is we'd still like to do. And so life is a journey full of ups and downs, successes and failures, and many will say that life is what you make of it, and that to some extent is true. But you do sometimes feel that life could have dealt you a losing hand from the beginning. Perhaps you were born into poverty or with a different ability. Perhaps you weren't very good at school, or you weren't very much good at working with your hands. Yet whatever we perceive our abilities to be or not to be, remember that the first disciples earned a living by working with their hands. They were fishermen. And yet they became leaders, showing the people the way to live like Jesus, being good neighbours. They were transformed by knowing Jesus and by working with him. And it can be the same for us as well. Now, if you've known Jesus for a little while, think back to how your life was before you met him. Can you see where the changes took place, how he helped to change you? And those of you who haven't met Jesus yet, perhaps think how you might like your life to change, what direction you would like it to go in, and just perhaps he'll be able to help you get there. Change probably won't happen overnight, but give it time. Persevere, and who knows where God will take you. Now the journey may well be long. Remember how long it took for the Israelites to reach the promised land once they'd left Egypt. 40 years. And you can read about it in the second book of the Bible called Exodus. Now 40 years is a long time, isn't it? Easily a generation, which apparently is 25 to 30 years. And so children would have been born, and families would have been raised, and some may never have seen the final destination. But each and every one of them would have known the story. Now we know the story of the Magi, that they travelled for 2 years to reach their goal. And then perhaps it took them 2 years to get home again, to tell their story to their families and friends. And I wonder if they ever sought out more news about that baby boy that new king born in Bethlehem. And if they did, I wonder, did they ever imagine his fate or his long-lasting legacy? And so each one of us is on a journey, and I'm always amazed at mine. I was born in London, and when I was a child I thought at different times that, well, I might work in a bank or in a museum. And then I thought at one time it'd be quite good fun to be an archaeologist. But in reality I had jobs in accounting, in a training centre, in human resources, and now as a priest. And this last one was not something that I'd ever imagined becoming, not even when my cousin became a priest. It was really not on my radar at all, but it seems that it was on God's. And my journey continues, and I often wonder where I will end up next and what I shall be doing. Now there may well be no change, and that really doesn't matter, for I know that God is by my side and that He's really in charge, no matter what I think. So as we continue our journey into 2022 with the Magi, the wise men by our sides, let us also continue our journey with God. Now, if you haven't started on your journey with God yet, all you need to do to start it is to pray or to open the Bible and see what it's got to say to you. And if you haven't read any of the Bible, I suggest you start with the Gospel of Mark, which can be found in the New Testament. But I hope that each and every one of your journeys is full of wonderment, joy, peace and happiness. So may God bless each and every one of you. Until the next time, goodbye.